Welcome back to Elderly Guidance. Today, we're doing a deep dive into something really vital, regaining leg strength and, well, vitality.
Yes, and we're starting from a really interesting angle based on the research we looked at.
Right, the idea that the solution might start not just, in the gym or with medication, but actually in your kitchen.
Exactly. We sifted through a lot of articles and studies, and they really focus on food as fuel, but specifically how it interacts with our muscles and nerves, how it can potentially help restore function.
So, our mission today is to unpack how specific dietary approaches might make a real difference in how your legs feel and perform.
And what's really striking is this finding that a targeted nutrient-dense diet, if you time it right, could possibly start restoring that neuromuscular connection surprisingly fast.
Yeah, that timeline jumped out at me too. There was that 2023 study mentioned, right, in the Journal of Clinical Nutrition.
That's the one. It noted improvements in mitochondrial activity, the energy factories in your muscle cells,
Hmm.
and also muscle protein synthesis, which is basically building and repair.
And this happened overnight.
Within about 12 hours. Yeah, and people over 50 who had a specific kind of meal the evening before. It's quite remarkable.
12 hours. That's
Yeah.
wow. It suggests this isn't some years-long project necessarily. You might feel something shift relatively quickly.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
And it underscores why leg strength is so important. It's tied to longevity, independence, confidence, all those things.
And the sources often point to the legs as one of the first places we notice changes, don't they?
They do. And this research really pushes back on the idea that muscle decline is just inevitable aging.
Right. It suggests other things are at play.
Big factors like misaligned circadian rhythms, your body clock being off, or chronic low-grade inflammation, maybe even just cells not getting the right nourishment.
So it's our biology, influenced by what we eat and when we eat it.
Precisely. Quality and timing seem to be key.
Okay, let's dig into the core problem then. Traditionally, we thought muscle loss with age was mainly atrophy, right? Fibers just shrinking.
Atrophy is definitely part of it, hormonal changes, inactivity, sure. But the neuroscience angle in these sources adds another layer,
Which is?
that a lot of the muscle function we think is lost isn't actually gone. It's more like it's become disconnected.
Disconnected. Okay, what does that actually mean for how things work?
It means the motor neurons, the nerves carrying signals from your brain and spinal cord to your leg muscles, can start to, well, degrade or become less effective.
And this isn't just happening in very old age.
Apparently not. The sources suggest it can start as early as your 40s. The electrical signal just doesn't get through as strongly. The command to contract is muffled, essentially.
So the muscle is there, but it's not being activated properly.
Exactly. The hardware's there, but the software signal is weak.
It's like the wiring is frayed, maybe. The message gets scrambled.
That's a good analogy. There's that University of Calgary study mentioned.
Ah, yes.
It found adults with declining leg strength still had the muscle structure, but the bottleneck was the neuromuscular signaling. Inactive, not non-functional.
Which suggests potential for restoration.
Huge potential.
And that connects to maybe that feeling, when you get up from a chair and feel a bit unsteady, or your legs just tire out faster than they used to.
Exactly. The sources frame that not just as getting old, but possibly as this disruption in nerve communication.
Okay, so if it's about reconnection, how do we support that? The spinal cord's role is key, right?
Absolutely. It's the relay station, and it needs the right nutrients to keep those signals strong and clear.
Needs the right fuel.
Precisely. Think of it like this. Your nervous system is the supervisor with a megaphone, and your leg muscles are the skilled workers.
Okay.
If the megaphone's battery is low, the workers can't hear clearly, performance drops, recharge it, and they're back on task.
So nutrients can recharge that megaphone, specifically at the neuromuscular junction.
Yes, that critical point where nerve meets muscle. The sources are quite clear. Specific nutrients can enhance signaling efficiency there, and they suggest this can start happening within hours.
Hours, again. That's the fascinating part. So what are these power nutrients? What's first?
The first one highlighted is an amino acid called leucine.
Leucine. Okay, we hear about amino acids and protein all the time. What makes leucine special here?
Well, it's essential, meaning you have to get it from your diet. Your body can't make it. But its role here is more than just being a building block.
It does something else.
The research positions it as a powerful catalyst. It triggers anabolic processes, the signals telling your cells to grow and repair.
Ah, so it's not the brick, it's the foreman telling the crew to build the wall.
That's a great way to put it. It specifically stimulates something called the mTOR pathway.
mTOR.
Think of mTOR as like the master switch for muscle protein synthesis. Leucine is the key that turns that switch on.
Does that key still work well as we get older? I've heard about muscles becoming less responsive.
That's a really important point. Anabolic resistance, they sometimes call it. But studies, like one from 2011 in the Journal of Nutrition, showed that even a single leucine-rich meal could significantly boost mTOR activity and muscle protein synthesis, even in older adults.
So leucine can sort of override that resistance.
It seems to have a unique ability to push through that barrier, yeah. And the effects can show up within hours.
Which implies it's not just about total protein across the day.
Right. It's about getting enough leucine specifically. Many older adults might get enough protein to stop losing muscle, but maybe not enough leucine to actively stimulate growth or that rapid signaling repair.
So the source of the protein matters.
Very much. Where do you get the best leucine?
Where do you get it?
Animal proteins are typically highest eggs, beef, poultry. Whey protein is often highlighted, especially whey protein isolate.
How much are we talking?
The target mentioned is around 25 to 30 grams of high-quality protein in a serving, which usually gets you about 2 to 3 grams of leucine. That seems to be the threshold to really flip that mTOR switch.
So consuming leucine isn't just feeding muscle, it's actively restoring that communication line.
That's the idea. You're sending a direct biochemical signal to get the system firing properly again, leading to, hopefully, faster improvements in strength, stability, and just feeling more vital in your legs.
Okay, leucine kicks off the build signal. What's the second key player for that nerve muscle talk?
That would be acetylcholine. It's the neurotransmitter, the actual chemical messenger that tells the muscle fiber to contract.
So the nerve impulse arrives, acetylcholine is released, and that makes the muscle squeeze.
Exactly that. It bridges the gap at the neuromuscular junction. If you don't have enough acetylcholine, or the muscle receptors aren't sensitive to it, the signal gets weak.
Leading to?
Misfires, maybe a hesitation before the muscle responds, or just less force. The sources note that both production and receptor sensitivity can decline with age, especially in the nerves going to the legs.
Which could contribute to balance issues or slower reactions.
That's the link they make, yes.
So how does diet help acetylcholine?
Through its precursor, choline. Your body uses choline to actually make acetylcholine.
Ah, okay. So more choline equals potentially more acetylcholine.
The research suggests exactly that. Boosting dietary choline can ramp up acetylcholine production. A 2012 review in Nutrients pointed to this helping motor coordination with effects potentially seen in, again, 6 to 12 hours.
There's that fast timeline again. Best source of choline.
Egg yolks. Hands down, the sources point to egg yolks. 2 whole eggs pack over 300 milligrams.
Wow.
And your body converts that efficiently, directly supporting that motor control pathway.
Any tips on when to eat them?
The suggestion is within about 30 minutes of waking up. Maybe even pair them with a leucine source, like some cottage cheese or that whey protein, for a sort of 1-2 punch.
Why first thing in the morning?
The idea is that your motor neurons are particularly receptive then. Acetylcholine synthesis is naturally a bit lower after sleep, so providing the building blocks right away gives the system what it needs when it's prime for rejuvenation.
So that feeling of maybe stepping more firmly after a good breakfast, it might not be just in your head.
It could be actual improved precision in your nervous system, yes. That's what the sources imply.
Interesting. And choline helps the brain too, right?
It does. It supports memory, learning, concentration, so you're potentially getting cognitive clarity and better physical control. It's a win-win.
What about plant-based sources?
The exit quinoa, Brussels sprouts, soybeans are mentioned, but the sources do stress that the choline in egg yolks is generally much more bioavailable, meaning easier for your body to absorb and use.
Okay. Leucine to signal build. Choline for the contract messenger. What else ensures that message gets delivered efficiently all the way down to the legs?
Blood flow. Circulation is absolutely crucial, and it's another area diet can significantly impact.
Back to the garden hose analogy.
Exactly. If the hose is kinked, the plants suffer, no matter how good the soil or sun. Same with legs. Constricted blood flow limits everything.
How does blood flow get restricted with age?
Arteries and capillaries can become stiffer, less responsive. This slows down waste removal from the muscles, nutrient delivery to the muscles, oxygen transport. Everything gets sluggish.
Leading to that heavy, fatigued feeling in the legs.
Precisely. Poor circulation can really undermine strength and endurance quietly, even if you're doing everything else right.
So how do we use food to unkink the hose?
The key molecule is nitric oxide NO. It's made by the cells lining your blood vessels, the endothelium, and it tells the vessels to relax and widen, vasodilation.
And diet affects NO production.
Directly. Certain foods provide the raw materials.
And the top food for this?
Beets, or beetroot juice.
Yeah.
They're packed with dietary nitrates, which your body converts into nitric oxide.
And this specifically helps legs. There's proof.
Oh, yeah. That 2015 study in the Journal of Applied Physiology was pretty compelling. Older adults drank beetroot juice, and within hours, they showed significant improvement in leg power.
Leg power specifically.
Yes, especially in fast-twitch fibers, which are key for balance and preventing falls. And it translated to better performance in real-world tasks, walking faster, getting up from chairs easier, climbing stairs.
Within hours from beet juice. Okay. How much and when should you take it?
The guidance suggests about 250, 300 milliliters of the juice, or maybe 1-2 medium beets, roughly 90 minutes before physical activity.
Why before activity?
It gives your body time to convert the nitrates to NO, so vasodilation is enhanced right when your muscles need that increased blood flow.
Does adding activity boost the effect?
It seems so. Doing some light activity, dynamic stretching, a brisk walk, maybe 20 minutes on a bike when those nitrates are available, seems to further enhance NO production. It's like opening the pipes and turning up the pressure a bit with movement.
What about the sugar in beets or beet juice? Some people might worry about that.
The sources acknowledge that, but suggest that when used strategically before exercise, the performance benefits from the NO boost tend to outweigh the relatively low glycemic impact, especially if you buffer it with some protein or fiber.
Makes sense. Okay. NO for blood flow, leucine for building, choline for signaling. What's the last piece? Something maybe less obvious.
Chronic low-grade inflammation. This is described as a sort of invisible barrier, subtly undermining strength from the inside out.
Not like a sprained ankle inflammation, but something else.
Exactly. It's not acute, it's systemic, persistent, low-level, like background static that interferes with muscle function, especially in the legs over time.
And we might not even feel it directly.
Often not. But studies like one from 2020 in the Journals of Gerontology show a clear link. Even slightly elevated inflammatory markers, things like CRP or IL-6, are associated with less muscle mass and strength in older adults, even if they're active and eat reasonably well.
How does it physically interfere?
It messes with several things. The muscle contraction process itself, protein synthesis, it increases oxidative stress, impairs mitochondria, and importantly, it seems to hinder the nervous system's ability to effectively recruit muscle fibers. That signal gets fuzzy again.
So what's the dietary countermeasure for this invisible inflammation?
Something pretty simple, actually. Dark leafy greens.
Like spinach, kale.
Yep. Mustard greens, chard, arugula, kale, spinach. They're packed with anti-inflammatory compounds. Nitrates again, which help blood flow too. Magnesium, chlorophyll, various polyphenols.
Any specific superstar compounds?
Quercetin gets a mention. It's a flavonoid found in things like mustard greens and kale, and it seems to directly inhibit some of those inflammatory signals, like TNF-alpha and IL-6.
Is there evidence this works over time?
A 2019 study suggested that regular intake of quercetin-rich foods could lower inflammatory markers within about 2 to 4 weeks, especially combined with some moderate activity.
How should we incorporate them? What's the strategy?
A simple approach suggested is to get a full cup of these greens into your first meal of the day.
Timing matters again. Why the first meal?
The idea is it helps set an anti-inflammatory tone for the day, aligning with your body's natural circadian rhythms, which govern immune responses.
Any tips for boosting absorption?
Pair them with healthy fats, avocado, olive oil. This helps you absorb the fat-soluble goodies like beta-carotene and vitamin K. A little acidity, like lemon juice or apple cider vinegar, might also help with overall nutrient uptake.
And the timeline for noticing effects here?
It's not instant like a painkiller. More like 10 to 14 days of consistency, you might start noticing less soreness, quicker recovery, maybe more energy, and that subtle improvement in leg strength. It's about signaling the immune system to dial down that chronic alert status.
Okay, we have the key ingredients. Leucine, choline, nitrates from beets, anti-inflammatory greens. Is that the whole picture, or is there more about how and when we consume them?
Yes, timing and distribution are really emphasized, especially relating back to that anabolic resistance concept.
Meaning muscles get less responsive with age.
Right. So even if you eat enough protein overall, if it all comes in one huge dinner, your muscles might not be able to effectively use it all for building or repair in that moment.
So spreading it out is better than front-loading or back-loading.
Exactly. The sources strongly suggest distributing protein intake evenly across your meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and making sure that first meal is protein-rich. This significantly boosts muscle maintenance and growth, especially, it seems, in the lower body.
Is there specific research on that distribution?
Yeah, a 2014 University of Texas study was mentioned. People who spread their protein fairly evenly across 3 meals had about a 25% higher rate of muscle protein synthesis compared to those who ate most of their protein at night, even if the total daily amount was the same.
Why does spreading it out work better?
Each meal provides a fresh stimulus, a new signal to build and repair. It keeps the mTOR pathway humming along more consistently throughout the day.
Any other timing tips?
Yes, eating within 30 to 60 minutes after some light activity, even just a walk, seems to amplify the effect.
The anabolic window.
Kind of, yeah. Muscle cells are thought to be extra receptive to taking up amino acids for repair right after activity.
Okay, this is super practical. Can you quickly recap the suggested protocol?
Sure, it boils down to basically 3 steps. First meal, hit about 30 grams of high-quality protein. Think Greek yogurt with hemp seeds or maybe 3 eggs with spinach and lentils. Get that leucine and choline in early.
Yeah.
Post-activity snack or meal. Within an hour of moving, have something with both protein and complex carbs. Maybe quinoa with beans and olive oil, or a protein smoothie with a banana. The carbs help shuttle amino acids into the muscles.
And 3?
Dinner. Include protein, but don't feel you need to overload. Muscles seem to have a limit, maybe 30-40 grams for synthesis at one time. More than that might just get used for energy. Focus on hitting those earlier targets consistently.
So this careful timing and distribution, it's another form of communication with your body, really.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
You're providing the right signals when the body is most ready to receive them, encouraging it to stay strong, resilient, and well engaged.
This has been fascinating. It really shows how muscle is so much more than just for movement. It's this complex metabolic organ responding to very specific inputs.
Absolutely. We've covered quite a bit. Nitric oxide for blood flow via beets, how muscle fibers need that flow and the right nerve signals, the gut-muscle link, leucine triggering the mTOR build signal, choline enabling the acetylcholine contract signal, and then the crucial role of timing to make it all work efficiently.
The big takeaway seems to be that our bodies are incredibly adaptable. They can rejuvenate if we give them the right tools at the right times.
And the sources offer a really clear, actionable starting point, something you could literally try tomorrow.
Okay, lay it on us. What's the immediate action step from the research?
Okay, tomorrow morning, make a smoothie or just have something with beets or beetroot juice and a good protein source, yogurt, protein powder, whatever works.
Drink that first.
Drink that first. Then immediately go for just a 15-minute walk or do some light movement. Nothing strenuous.
And the
No.
thinking there is.
Prime the blood vessels with NO from the beets. Initiate muscle signaling with the protein's leucine, and then use the movement to enhance nutrient delivery while the muscles are becoming receptive.
And then follow up with,
Within 30 to 60 minutes after that walk, eat your proper protein-rich breakfast or first meal, making sure you hit those leucine and choline targets again while the body's uptake potential is heightened.
it highlights how these small, targeted things, a specific food, a short walk, a well-timed meal, can potentially kickstart noticeable changes, especially in the legs, which are so key for everything.
It really shifts the focus. It's about building positive momentum, maybe more than just worrying about where you're starting from.
So as you try these things, you might notice those subtle shifts, legs feeling stronger, maybe feeling more stable, more capable, more yourself.
It's definitely worth exploring how these simple food strategies might affect how you feel day to day.
And maybe a final thought to leave everyone with. If these nutritional strategies and timing can have such a targeted impact on leg strength, what other aspects of your health and well-being, energy, focus, metabolism might also be tunable through similar, often overlooked dietary approaches? It really makes you think about the power of food beyond just calories.